here's my 2004 Element project of the day. We've got the trailing arm mount that rusted out, and I didn't take any video when I started, but I've got this whole corner disassembled now. The trailing arm is gone. Took that out to get it out of the way so I can get in here and start cutting. So normally there's a hump here. It comes right down here, and that's where trailing arm mounts. There's a hole right here, and there's usually a hole right around here. Maybe we can get you under there. There's that shiny spot. That's for the existing hole that didn't rust out. The other one did rust out. I've been cutting a little bit. There's quite a bit of material missing now. And yesterday it was raining, I had to stop, and some of the fresh cut rusted a little bit. So this isn't really a how-to, it's more of a how I did it. I am attempting to repair this rusted out trailing arm mount myself. I've got a little bit of guidance from some people who have done this repair in the past successfully, and so I need to get all the rust cut out, get back to fresh metal, and then I've got some various pieces that I'm going to use to try and reconstruct this trailing arm mount and weld it all back in. So I don't know how much of this I'm going to actually record, but I'll try and take some photos along the way. I've got some photos from earlier in the process, what it looked like before I took anything apart, that I'll put up so that everyone can see where it started, and hopefully I can show how it progresses. All right, here we go. Okay, so what I've done is this piece here is 7 inches from end to end. The holes, they're ovals, but they're about 6 inches on center. It's about a 1/4 inch thick, a little bit thicker, but I got this piece of 1/4 inch stock. It's 1/4 by 1, it's about the same. It's pretty close to the same size. So I'm gonna use this so I don't have to try and mount this trailing arm back up there and have it dangling by one bolt and stuff. So I'm going to use this kind of as a jig, as a stand-in for this. Now this is the collar that came out of the rusted mount. It's actually, the threads are good. It's not bad. I might clean up a little bit more to make it easier to weld, because this sharp point isn't going to be good. So I'm going to smooth this down and might put a flat edge around the outside here. But what's interesting was that this bottom surface was just sitting on the sheet metal at the bottom of the body mount there. And it's actually this up here that's welded to the next layer of metal. So that tells me that the structural strength needs to be up here, which is going to be a lot easier to get. I'm going to cut a little bit higher so that I can put a piece of 1/8 inch plate flat there with this upper section that used to be welded in there. So anyway, I'm going to put this together Here's the bolts. I'm going to put this together, kind of set it in there so that I can start to get an idea for how far I need to cut to get everything to go back together. I'll show you that one when I get there. Okay, so here's what this looks like. This is my jig, fixture, whatever, stand in for the trailing arm. I've got it secured with its bolt. There's a nice clean section of paint over here. So I was able to get it straight with how the trailing arm has been sitting all these years. So this is going to be the location that I want to try and get this piece to. Now, I'm actually not sure yet how I'm going to do it. But obviously I've got to close in the big hole. What I want to do here is cut some straight edges so that I can come in with my 1/8 inch plate and have nice straight edges to cut to. I'm going to end up pulling out some cardboard here so I can cut. But I'm going to get these, I got some jagged edges back here especially. So I got some tools now that'll let me cut that a little bit better. I'll get this cut out some more. Try to get a couple different views here. And cut the jagged edges, try to get everything straight, and start getting in here with some cardboard to figure out what pieces I need to cut of the steel. And eventually we're going to be welding, but for now this is where we're at. Okay, so I've cut a piece of cardboard. I'll use to patch the hole. I'll use this template, I got a hole here marked here. Through my, there, go right up through my hole to my mark. That's where I'm gonna need the hole in my steel plate. So the plan is, this is a flat piece of 1/8 inch sheet steel that I have. It'll get welded all the way around the edges with a hole right here. So there will be a hole there for this. Most of this hex side, it's almost like a nut. It's a welded nut, I guess. There it is. Sit up, so this needs to go all the way up in there so that the bottom of this sits right there. So when this is out, this is going to sit right here. So what I'll do is I'll cut it. I'll cut the steel, and I'll mark it and drill the hole, and then I'll get this in it and figure out where exactly. So I'm going to have this all jigged up, and then I'm going to tack that into place on the plate, and you get it fully welded, and then weld the plate in. That's the plan. Am I supposed to weld the plate and then, I don't know. One way or the other, I'll figure it out. Okay, well, it's the moment of truth now, I guess. Just about to weld this in. I did this as almost like a, I don't know, there's these humps, but the hump isn't really that structural. It's not even welded to the collar that's in there. So I did this though to surrounding collar, I guess, protected from direct exposure. Give it a little bit more stability, I guess. If I was better at metalworking, maybe I could have made it come out to the edges, but I'm not. So this is what I can do. This is what I'm gonna try. Hoping that the welding goes good here. So we're about to start. Wish me luck. Alright, well there she is. All welded in. Looks a little wet right now. I just put a coat of rust reformer on it, just because there's a little bit of rust around the edges, and you know it's bare metal. So all the white and kind of brownish that you see there, though, that's actually the weld through primer, which mostly a lot of it went away. There's a little bit left, but after this rust reformer dries, I'm going to coat it with truck bed liner / underbody rust protection. Got a bottle of that. It's kind of like the same stuff, I guess. And then I'm going to start fitting the rear suspension back in, get the trailing arm back in here. Got a lot of reassembly to do there because the trailing arm's gone. The knuckle is kind of hanging here by the, I got it supported with the jack, but knuckles hanging by the upper control arm and the axle. I got a lot of stuff to remember that I need to put back together, and once this whole project's done, I've got to bleed the brakes still because that's what I was doing. This was supposed to be a quick afternoon brake replacement. So here we are. What is it, 4 or 5 days later, and I finally got this to where I think it's going to work. We're gonna find out, I guess. All right, I just sprayed it with some underbody coating. It's supposed to be rust proofing and rubbery. It's rubbery. I gave it a pretty good thick coat, went over it a couple times. Made sure I got all the spots, so there's some drips, but I'm not too worried about that because obviously from the factory there's drips and that stuff. So all right, got some drips on my driveway, which I'm not too happy about, but I'll let this dry and then we're ready to start reassembly. Looking forward to seeing how this works out. All right, here we are. It's welded in. She's getting obviously new brakes and new rear strut. Everything else reassembled here. Discovered now that this tire's flat, so I'm gonna go fix the flat, put the wheel on, and we're gonna try setting this girl on the ground and see what happens. More to come later. All right, it's been a couple days of driving. Gonna get under here, kind of inspect everything, and I've got a plan to drill and tap a hole and put a new bolt in straight up for this parking brake, because it's just kind of trying to hold it with the zip tie. It's not a long-term solution. So far, things look pretty good from here though. Got the new struts in there, brakes. Alright, let's get underneath and take a look from the bottom. Alright, we're on a wide angle here because everything's real close, but I don't see any problems here. here looks to me like it's holding up just fine. I guess I wish I would have put a little bit more underbody coating around that hole. This is the original frame hole, by the way. So you see some fresh rust on there, but it's not a new car, so some rust isn't outside the realm of expectation. I'm looking at my welds, I'm looking at seams. I am not seeing anything that's making me worried here.